C-3PO human-cyborg relations.
Welcome to the Regular Joe's podcast with your hosts Dave Pisani, Barry Kay, and Todd Pleasant.
Hello, I'm John Rhys-Davis, and I am privileged to tell you that you are listening to the Regular Joe's podcast. Oh, is there a treat in for you?
Hey, my name is Michelle, and I am the voice of Omega, and this is the Regular Joe's podcast.
My name's Rooker, and you're listening to the Regular Joe's podcast.
My name's Jason Isaacs. You're listening to the Regular Joe's... Regular? What is that?
Not us.
That was like George Bush's nuclear.
This is Beverly D'Angelo sending love out for anybody who loves the Regular Joe's podcast.
This is Sam Jones / Gordon, and you're listening to the Regular Joe's podcast. And say something nice to somebody. And say it like you mean it, or I will hunt you down, I will find you, I will do things to you.
This is Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and you're listening to the Regular Joe's podcast.
Hi, this is Martin Cove, your sensei from the Karate Kid movies, and you're listening to Regular Joe's podcast. And just remember, if you're not listening to Regular Joe's podcast, there's no mercy for you.
I'm John Trimble, and you're listening to the Regular Joe podcast.
And I'm B. Joe Trimble, and I hereby approve this message.
Welcome to the Regular Joe's podcast. I'm Dave Pisani.
I'm Barry Kay.
I'm Todd Pleasant.
I'm Derryl DePriest.
And I'm Brian Mix.
This is episode 550. We don't talk the numbers, and with all the fives, we thought Daryl's making the 5 signal for us.
That's right.
And he's probably had 5 drinks by now, I think. That's why all 5 of us are here.
That's right.
So
coming in 5 by 5.
There's a theme.
We're not 100% sure you celebrate episode 550, but fuck it, we're celebrating.
It is a roundish number. It's a milestone. I want to know.
It's and 555 will also.
You guys are all coming back for 555. Also.
How can you go wrong?
555
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, 550 is a big number, so.
Yeah. Congratulations, fellas.
Thank you.
550. When you really, that's a lot.
Yeah.
We've been doing this for like 30 years.
It feels like it.
That's it.
No, it's all good. It's always good.
About 20 years, Barry, I think.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Or 11, but yeah.
11. These go to 11.
Or 25, yeah. So. But.
We
just haven't been recording all of it. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's true. If you actually add up all of these conversations that haven't been recorded, we've definitely been doing it for 25 years.
Yeah.
We did those for ourselves, and we do this for ourselves. So if you want to enjoy the ride, we appreciate it. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
We do have things planned. So I know what some of you are saying. Like, oh, they got all 5 of these guys on there. That means there's nothing going.
Oh, no, don't tune out.
We got something this time.
Lots to
This
talk
is
about.
the rare occasion where there's 5 of us and we have a plan.
Exactly. So there is a plan. Let's go some random. Barry, do you want to talk about your naked Star Wars women?
Well, we could talk about that. I wasn't going to go there first, but why not? So there's this trend on YouTube where they make these AI trailers and they call them Super Panavision. And it started out sort of innocent enough where there were Super Panavision trailers of old movies and whatever, and they were just like remakes and a lot of AI technology in them. But I saw one today that just made me scratch my head. I sent it to the rest of these guys. if you Google Star Wars Episode 6, Princess Leia enters the Ewok village - 2000 Super Panavision 70, or any of that, you probably don't have to type all of it. You will see a pretty disturbing. You'll see a pretty disturbing AI trailer that has Princess Leia in the skimpiest of costumes. She has a almost Valley Girl-esque voice, and she's talking about, ew, it's gross. I made out with my brother, and she's like in, I guess, a hot tub at one point.
More than one
for
point.
the Ewoks.
But they cut back to the hot tub a couple of times. But
and she didn't think it was gross that she made out with her brother.
The whole thing was just weird. Like,
there's some, not only, there is definitely some wrong reasons for AI. I don't think it offends Star Trek. I do think it offends women, but
I'll tell you,
some of this stuff.
Some of these are very cool. Okay. So there's an X-Men one that's really cool. It's with like 1950s versions of the X-Men. That's really, really cool. There's a number of them that were neat. And it's just so many people have kind of glommed onto it now that it's just,
it feels like there's at least 100 of these out there, if not more.
Oh yeah, no, and again, the ones that kind of,
and I've seen some cool Star Wars ones where they say, like, if Star Wars had been made in the 50s and it has much more of
that's
a
what I'm
50s
saying.
aesthetic.
And they stayed to the aesthetic of the 50s, and instead of going to like ridiculous boob proportions and all this kind of stuff and super skimpy silver outfits and whatnot, but it's if the technology's there, it's going to be abused. That's just how it is.
But you know what? The other thing, aside from this sort of, risque type stuff, people are making trailers for movies that don't exist, and they come up in your feed, and I'm like, oh, is that?
I got suckered by one of those ones. I actually sent you guys a thing once. Said, hey, there's a trailer.
Why did people need to do that?
And it had like it had something like 70,000 views. And I was like, oh, this is a trailer that just dropped. It wasn't a trailer, it just dropped.
I saw one of those today for Sydney Sweeney's Barbarella movie. I'm like, oh, they actually made that and there's a trailer? No, it was not real. It was a total AI thing.
It's the future.
It is the future. Yes.
How old this technology is? What? 2 years old? Imagine what it's going to look like when it's 10 years old.
Well, I read an article yesterday that one of the directors that worked on Rogue One was saying that the technology they used to put Tarkin in Rogue One is so antiquated now. Like, if they were doing that today, it would be done a totally different way, and it would look 1,000 times better.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a few minutes.
That's only 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So my question is, I watched that Star Wars trailer that you sent us, BK, and I look at it and I see Luke and I think that looks like Mark Hamill, but Leia looks nothing like Leia.
Yes. Yeah.
So you're the youngest of us, so the most connected to the generation of this AI generated stuff. Like, why? What's the difference here? And is it in the input that is it all in the input that the person who generates the AI puts in for the search engine or whatever they do?
I just think that when it comes to a female character like Leia, they just over-sexualize them. So they're putting in their reference and their input and whatever they have to put in to help generate that image of Leia. They just put in something that was more akin to an over-sexualized version,
they
and
had very little interest in sexualizing Luke, so they just used pure Luke imagery.
Exactly.
Okay.
So Todd, what do you do to put into your prompt for?
Well, it's more than prompts. So you can also provide images. You can provide sample images. You can provide types of.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I bet there was a girl.
You can have it go more
some
towards
of that.
anime proportions. You can do.
I get it.
Stuff.
Okay.
So
yeah.
So it's. Yeah,
it's not just generating video on its own.
It's not
a simple prompt.
It's not just text based. You don't just type in what you want. I agree. Like I was texting the guys. I was messing around over the weekend with AI image generation because I was actually creating album covers for some of the music that I've recorded over the years, and I wanted to see what I could come up with just using Google's built-in AI image generation. The results are pretty spectacular just by typing in some keywords like. You can get back some crazy stuff, and it's
boobs.
What was the turnaround?
So much boobs. I didn't really put in boobs, but
I've designed some T-shirts, which I'm in the process. Not more to come on that, but I've sort of just put like just text-based. What if Indiana Jones was a snake? Don't everyone steal that. I've copyright, and I got some really cool pictures that will make awesome T-shirts.
So what's the turnaround time on that when you guys put it in? How long until the image?
60 seconds.
Seconds. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
There was
I once did one where I said stormtrooper riding a skateboard playing a guitar, and you get back 6 different variations of a stormtrooper on a skateboard with a guitar.
Yep.
In a minute.
Crazy.
It's pretty crazy.
That's wrong.
Oh yeah, you're putting artists all over the world out of work, like my wife.
Exactly.
There's I saw a program for sale, and it wasn't very expensive. It was a photograph of a girl sitting on a park bench, and then they put it through this program, and the girl got up and fluffed her hair and sat back down on the park bench from a photograph.
Oh really?
Oh yeah, no, it's crazy what you can do.
What came with the program was, and here's the render farm fee that you can do it, because if you run it at home, it's going to take 3 hours to do this. Yeah. But if you use our render farm for $20 a month, you can get it back in 3 minutes.
Most of this stuff has been free. Who knows what they're going to do with all
it's
that?
just computer power is where they're going to make their money. Yeah.
There are some there's some really cool, simple things like that you can do. Like I work at a boys' middle school. Okay, taking a picture where everyone's eyes are in the same direction is almost impossible. You can change eye direction right now in a picture, and you cannot tell. You absolutely cannot tell. That kid who's looking to the side, you can move his eyes back to the center in seconds, and it's
Barry's phone. Barry, you were taking a picture at Rhode Island Comic Con.
When we were at Rhode Island. It's just built into the latest version of software from Apple. But somebody's standing next to the person you're taking a picture of, and you can just highlight them, and they disappear, and it looks really good.
Yeah. You're 5 years away from sitting at home by yourself, putting your script in the computer, and making your own movies that no one will want to see.
No one will want to see. Exactly.
So this year was
coming.
This year was a pretty epic Rhode Island Comic Con. But next year, if we get no good celebrities walking by,
we'll just make them up.
We'll never tell. We'll never tell. Oh yeah, no, we're already working that.
Who do you want? Carl Weathers?
Yep.
Wait.
We only could literally take
R.I.P. Carl Weathers.
We're only actually.
Yeah, I was going to say we could take all the interviews we've ever done, feed them into an AI generator, and just create our own celebrities with that audio.
All right, we're only moving on.
Dead in the public domain celebrities.
But, Charlie Chaplin we could do.
Steamboat Willie, he's on our show.
Steamboat Willie could be on the
show. Hey, Regular Joes.
Todd, what do you got for random?
Okay, so Kraven the Hunter is not out yet, and there's already articles predicting how badly it's going to bomb.
How could anyone even not predict that?
So, but here's the thing: it's like, you got to try to. I mean, does Sony not get that all these Spider-Man adjacent characters, other than Venom, no one cares about?
Yeah, Todd, who's Kraven the Hunter?
Exactly.
I have no idea.
He's
but the first 2 Venom movies made money. The third one.
No, but I'm saying other than Venom. But I'm saying Venom
wasn't the Kraven the Hunter story in Marvel one of the greatest? Story.
No. There's no great Kraven.
He was in like the one. I remember seeing him in he's in like the 75 to 125 range of Amazing Spider-Man a couple times.
And again, it's
no. This was
it. Also ran Spider-Man villain. If you couldn't make Morbius work, okay,
but you couldn't.
That's what I'm saying. If you can't do that, that's a character that could be a lot more potentially interesting than this. I mean, what do you do next? The Rhino? I mean, I don't get why they did this.
The other 2 Venom movies made $1 billion each, and this one made $500 million.
But you know what? Anyone that knows,
which is still a lot of money.
Anyone who knows anything about comics knows that Venom is like, it's like the Deadpool of Spider-Man villains. Okay, it's like he's got a cult following. You knew this movie was going to do okay based on that, or those films are going to do okay based on that. But like I said, going down the working down the line, I don't get it. I don't.
Actually, I want to retract what I just said because I just looked it up. First Venom made 800 million. Yep. Second one made 506 million. So this third one is actually on par with the second one. So I'm going to retract a little bit.
But they still made good money. They're expecting this to have a $20 million opening weekend. So it's just
weird. I don't know why. Maybe it's just the IP. Although friend of the show, Nicole Marie Jean, did dress as Kraven the Hunter, our first Rhode Island
first time we met her.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
remember that?
So that's something.
I do
you
remember
can find
that.
her on OnlyFans.
Yep.
But she wasn't doing OnlyFans back when we met her.
No, now you can.
Now you can. I got another thing if somebody wants to go, though. Go ahead.
Brian, what do you got?
Oh, I got my Heritage catalog because I get one every week, whether I like it or not.
Yeah, what auction? I don't get them all. I don't think.
This is the one with the ruby slippers on the cover. You can't miss.
Oh, yeah, I got that one.
Spectacular.
I'll be getting that.
Yeah, the ruby slippers are what the right now they're at 1.1 million.
Oh, jeez.
And that auction's not for a month, right?
What is the date on that?
December 7th.
Yeah, December 7th.
Oh, okay. So it's a few weeks away still.
But the thing that turned my head was the original Bob Peak artwork for Rollerball.
Nice.
The original piece of art it doesn't have a bid yet, but its opening bid's $40,000.
Oh, you got it too. I'm upset that I didn't get mine.
I haven't spent enough money at Heritage
barely get
directly.
Your packages.
I what?
I said you barely get your packages. I mean, why would you expect to get the
It's got
catalog?
It's got Disneyland posters in it.
I barely get my packages from Prop Store.
Oh, that's what it is.
I see, Derryl, you've marked those pages. I see.
And everything I've bought through Heritage has actually been a group buy with you guys. So I'm not my name's not on those purchases. So I don't get Heritage
Greg
catalog.
Jean and we'll talk about that stuff later. But that's cool. Bob Peak. So his artwork is awesome, by the way. But is it also a huge piece? Because the Search for Spock, I think, was Bob Peak, and it was this massive original painting.
Gigantic, yeah.
30 by 40.
30 by 40. Oh, they got that Ken Kelly. Is it Ken Kelly? Love Gun thing or Destroyer?
Yeah,
art?
It's got Ken Kelly's art right there.
Wow.
Is that the original, or did he repaint that? Because I feel like Kiss would have the original.
It's a recreation large painting.
What I thought.
He passed away a couple of years ago. We used to see him at shows. Never bought
Yeah, we used to see him at Chiller all the time.
I know. Should have bought something.
I spent time with Ken Kelly at San Diego Comic-Con one year. We commissioned him to do the paintings for a Micronauts exclusive that we had.
I remember
he did
that.
the original Micronauts art. He was amazing.
Yeah.
I've got my son actually has a little Godzilla that he painted that we bought at one of those chillers. There's a little thing on a little easel. Yeah.
I got to check that out. I'm actually saving my money for the Olivia Newton-John auction. Julian's is auctioning off all her possessions. I've got my eye on her library card.
So Brian brought up this auction.
They have all that stuff.
I have to say, this has some of the most iconic artwork in it that you've ever seen. It's got the original book cover for Jaws.
Oh, wow.
And
cool.
You recognize that stocking
Hat
cap
from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
That's it right there.
So this is like Hollywood memorabilia, but there's a lot of art here too.
Yeah, it's this is
an insane art.
First half. Yeah.
I will have to download that catalog and check it out.
Yeah, that one I would like to have.
Supergirl movie artwork.
I've been giving away all those Heritage catalogs like Power Rangers, and I gave away Game of Thrones. Stuff I don't care about.
Yeah, I actually don't like to keep because they pile up. But I have the Greg Jean one.
The Greg Jean one I had to keep, and the Planet Hollywood I'm glad to have.
Yeah.
But Darryl, you got random?
I do not have a random.
Okay, I have
I'll
one.
take Darryl's place. I have a question for the group.
Okay.
I'll go, then you go.
Okay, thank you.
So, yeah, I'm helping guide the ship here.
Who's running this show? Okay.
I am right now. They're
Actually,
making.
I control the audio, so
it's true.
Continue.
So, all right, this is quick, but they're making more Jurassic movies. Jurassic World Rebirth is in production.
Scarlett Johansson.
My question to the group, is Scarlett Johansson enough to make you want to see another Jurassic Park movie? After
I'll
the
see
last
I'll see anything
three.
with Scarlett Johansson.
First question: how many are there now?
How many new ones or old ones?
There are
There's
six, I think.
3 and 3.
There's 6.
Okay,
The first one was good. The second one was the third one was terrible. Then the first one with Chris Pratt was good, and then the second 2 were pretty bad.
Okay,
I think the second 2 were
3, and that's
horrible.
Where did things leave off at the end of the third one?
I couldn't tell you. I don't remember.
There were dinosaurs on a pier.
But now they're going back with ScarJo to back to the island.
So I don't know that they need to go back to the island. I think when they're now that they're Jurassic World, right? That doesn't necessarily mean the park. Okay, I mean, could be dinosaurs everywhere now.
Well, that's what they call it.
But subtitle is Rebirth, so that means they're going back to the island.
It feels soon, but I don't think I saw any of the 3 new ones in the theater.
No, I haven't seen them all. I haven't seen them at all.
I'd watch them in my basement, but
all 3 of them in the theater, and I do not remember the third one at all.
Aren't there multiple islands? There's Isla Nublar, which
and
was
then
the
there was
first one.
the other island where they were making the dinosaurs.
Yep.
Yes, that's the original one. Isla Nublar was the first Jurassic Park. Then Jurassic World was another island.
Yep.
No, that was the same island, wasn't it?
It was the same island.
They drove. It was
the same island because they had the same Jeeps.
Site B was on another island, and that's where they did the development, and that's what we saw from Jurassic Park 2.
For episodes,
Lost World.
Episodes 2 and 3, I think, or what? Yeah, Lost World, whatever.
It just feels like it's too soon after that last trilogy to be
literally
going back
was
to the
just
well.
in the theaters like a year ago.
I think
like 2 or 3 years before it comes out anyway.
10 years in the future, you go to a world that's like overrun by dinosaurs, and you make it totally a action thing. So
I don't think anyone cares. It's like the Transformers. There's like 11 Transformer movies, and you only really watch 2 of them, 1 of them maybe.
None.
The original and Bumblebee. Yep.
Those 2. Those are actually the only 2 good ones.
That's it.
And I base my Transformers viewing on what women happen to be in them.
And I have never seen one.
You've never seen? Wait. You've never seen any Transformers?
Didn't we watch one together?
No, we did not. We thought
you never saw the original Transformers?
G.I. Joe movie together.
I've
never seen a Transformers.
First Transformers was good.
It was good.
First
was
good.
I'll say it this way: it was good, and Megan Fox.
Yes.
So it was good.
Was she working? That was the Bumblebee. Maybe I saw the Bumblebee.
Haley Steinfeld was the one in the Bumblebee movie,
which is good. No, first one is I think very good.
Or maybe I just saw the trailer.
First one, really good. I'll never forget it. I watched it with my kids, and when I watched it with my kids, they afterwards were so affected because one of the Transformers died. I forget what the name of the one was that died in the first film. They would.
Oh, I don't remember.
They'll never forget it. That was a film for them. It was amazing.
Yeah.
But did you were at Hasbro? Who
I was just going to say they weren't affected because your bonus is going to be so good this year, Dad.
No.
Okay.
No, but we actually watched it at a premiere where the Target executives were also invited into Rhode Island.
And
we all watched it together.
Transformer collectors, fans of the toy, like it too?
Everybody loves the first Michael Bay movie.
Yeah,
I think
there you go.
It's fondly thought of as a transformative movie.
There you go.
Yeah, ooh, nice. And Megan Fox. You did there.
And Megan
Fox.
Look,
I want to go on record. I like dinosaurs. I love dinosaurs, and I like the Jurassic Park, the first couple. But like, I just feel like it's too soon. Even with ScarJo in there, it just feels like it's too soon.
Someone else big is in it. Is it Chris Hemsworth is in it? I thought someone else.
I know a dinosaur that transforms into a robot.
Barry Kay, do you know the first Transformers
into a building?
Movie was almost 30 years ago?
I don't get it.
That is kind of crazy.
Is that fun?
I always think of in Jurassic Park 2, Jeff Goldblum had like 3 good lines, but one of them was, "Oh yeah, first there's the oohing and the awing, and then it's the running and the screaming.
Screaming. Yeah.
And that is basically summed up every single one of these movies. Like, oh wow, that's incredible. And then they start running and screaming. Yeah. It's like
Dave, I'm looking up the cast for it.
Yeah, I'm looking at it too. No one other
Rupert
than her.
Friend is in it, and Mahershala Ali's in it, but there is not like a huge
all the money's
male
going
lead.
to Scarlett.
Yeah.
Can she open a movie?
I don't think it's.
This could be a movie like from
Gareth Edwards is
10 years
directing
ago, right?
That's interesting.
Given these stars.
Yeah, well, Gareth Edwards, didn't he directed the first Jurassic World with Chris Pratt, right?
Yeah.
You did? I don't know.
Yeah, it was Gareth Edwards and the second one, I think.
I don't know.
I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. Well,
I hope I'm proven wrong.
We'll see in 7 months. It comes out in July. Did anyone watch the John Williams documentary on Disney Plus? I just watched it the other night.
Yes.
I thought it was very good.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Just the breadth of that guy's career, when you know it, but then when they start naming and showing everything, it's just it's amazing.
It's insane
how he is.
And I didn't know the history with his wife and his first wife.
I didn't either.
Crazy.
And I didn't know he was like a jazz musician and stuff.
Did they get the rights to the music? Did they play the music during the documentary?
Oh, it was all John Williams. It was produced by Spielberg. And John Williams was interviewed.
Not only did they play
it.
the real music, Brian, but there's scenes where John Williams is sitting at a piano, like just banging out, like,
oh, man,
like
the
like
Jaws
now, banging out
and
Jaws and stuff. Yeah, it's really
talking
good.
about Close Encounters and showing how he came up with the sequence. And it's a great documentary.
Yeah, and he just writes his music like by hand, I guess, up until Dial of Destiny, I guess, which is amazing. It's really good. I highly recommend watching it. Yeah, and then I was, I think I know I talked about this. I guess it's a year and a half ago now. I saw him at Tangle, which is the first time I saw him. I was brought to tears. It's just amazing to see that music played by that orchestra, conducted by him. It's really something.
Yeah, I saw him at the Hollywood Bowl, and he'd play a song. You go, oh, that's the best one of them all. Then he'll play another one. Oh no, that one's the best one of them all. Then he'll play another one. It's like, nope, that's the best. And he always closes with Superman, which is just will bring you to tears. Yeah,
yeah.
It was crazy though, because he talks about how he still writes everything by hand, and he's like, modern composers, they use computers, and it probably saves them a lot of time. And I'm like, probably. He seemed to not know at all how technology works, really. But it was a great documentary.
He's doing something right. I mean, you just listen to some of the stuff he's done. It's just really.
Now he could say, create a John Williams AI score for this movie, and just phone it in.
I think we're. I can't say we'll never be there. The nuance in music is something that I don't think AI is capable of yet, but. Maybe someday.
Yeah. But and not knowing anything about music, you see, so he writes this score, like whatever it is, the Imperial March, or even something broader than that, Superman. And then it's like, oboe does this. And, woodwinds, oboe's a woodwind. The brass, like, it's just amazing how you just push that out to like 100 people there. It's really something else.
Yeah. So three of you guys
cool
have
too,
seen
because
John Williams live. Todd has, I know. You and I have not, right?
No.
I haven't.
I've seen the music played by an orchestra, but I haven't seen it conducted by John Williams.
He was not at Tanglewood this summer because he was ill. He talked in the documentary about Tanglewood, how it's super important and it's the mecca for music and blah, blah, blah. He may be there next. We should all go.
If he's there this summer, we have to go.
If he is, we should all go. Yeah, I agree.
But
that would be something.
Todd, remind me, he doesn't really announce the dates that far in advance, right? It's kind of a surprise, isn't it?
There'll be tickets on sale in the February, March-ish.
I looked. It's not up yet because I was looking last night or the other night when
we have to. Yeah, we have to go. I'm there, guys. If he is,
he was at Carnegie Hall with Yo-Yo Ma this past February, and you could not get tickets. It was like impossible. But to see the film scores and he does that specifically.
Well, let's all meet up there if he.
I hope.
When I saw the Star Wars in concert thing. It was full orchestra with the movies projected. It just wasn't him conducting, but that was
I saw the same thing, BK.
Yeah.
With Anthony Daniels and all that.
With Anthony Daniels, that's the one I saw.
Yeah. So I'll get Karen watching too because she's really good about that stuff. So
okay.
But we should try to do that.
Not on the lawn though. It's too far away.
Yeah, too far. No, you got to be in the shed.
Yeah.
There's no question. Yeah. So
who has more random? Ty, do you got something else?
So, do you guys know who Taylor Sheridan is?
Yeah, she's like the biggest pop star in the world. What, are you kidding me?
So I'm gonna admit. So basically, Taylor Sheridan is a writer, a producer, director, showrunner. Okay, on every single thing that's on Paramount.
Every single thing.
All the Yellowstone stuff.
So all the Yellowstone stuff. Okay. All the Yellowstone stuff and the
Jackal.
Is he in Jackal also?
You were
but Lioness, the new Landman that just started.
It's so funny. We just were saying that the other night. We watched Lioness last night.
Well, anyways, in my head, now I have known for a long time. There's an actor, Taylor Sheridan. Okay. Yeah. I didn't realize they were the same person. Okay.
Oh, it is.
So the guy you've seen Lioness, Dave, right? And Barry, have you seen the season? Or
no, I've only seen the first episode.
Okay.
It's awesome, by the way.
So the old grizzled soldier dude, the guy who drives them off into the river. Okay.
Wait, the guy there was the team from last year, and then there's the new guy.
The new guy, the guy that comes in with his small team.
Yeah.
And they get them out of Mexico and they drive into the river. That is freaking Taylor Sheridan.
Really? He's a freaking badass.
He's a badass. He was in Sons of Anarchy, and that's where I remember him from. And then I was like, that's the guy from Sons of Anarchy. And I look it up and I'm like, oh, his name is Taylor Sheridan. And it's like, but the guy that wrote the episode is Taylor. And then, like I said, in my head, I just never combined that. This guy, if you look at this guy's IMDb, okay, he is the Jon Favreau of Paramount. Okay, everything is on his back.
Everything.
Incredible.
Well,
Yellowstone.
Here's the most
pimp
moves that this guy has ever pulled.
Tulsa King,
Landman,
Lioness.
But hang on, Todd. Really? The most pimp move that he has pulled.
Yep.
He writes all of the Yellowstone stuff.
Yeah.
And sets it on a piece of property that he owns.
Yeah.
And he charges the production back to film on his property.
But here's the thing. But if you look at all of his shows,
that is a pimp move.
He has got he's got a better move than this. Okay. There is a common theme in every single one of his shows. Okay. You take a movie star who's aging out. Okay. And you get him into a TV series that you can basically build around them, but kind of not make it a crazy huge commitment for them. Okay, Nicole Kidman, Sylvester Stallone, Harrison Ford, Kevin Costner. Okay, and now yes,
Billy Bob Thornton.
Yes, and that is his thing.
Great formula. Yeah,
and so he's got a built-in draw on every single one of these shows. Because the name association, all this, that's how you do your pitch. Again, I'm in awe of this guy. And like I said, I liked him as an actor. And like I said, I was thinking,
I'm amazed that's that dude. Cause it's funny when that guy was in Lioness, I'm like, wow, they picked like the perfect special ops CIA dude who's to a T. And that's him.
And he's this old, and basically the joke is like, how have you lived this long? Okay. But he's also been in kind of in different roles and a bunch of these differences. Anyways, like I said,
that's wild. That guy, I did not know that.
Utterly unbelievable. Like I said, what this guy has done, he must not sleep. But
so he's executive producer of The Landman as well, which is the
Yeah, and then and I'll tell you, if you're not watching Lioness, it is freaking incredible this season. And
I don't think there's a better tactical
out there
team shoot 'em up show than that.
No, this is
It's
the
on
best.
Paramount
This
Plus?
is the best one,
Paramount
and
Plus.
it's not one of these things where everything is done for dramatic effect. Okay, like when things go wrong, you don't see them going wrong, and when things go right, you're like, yeah, that could have happened that way, and it's just very well done. But one of the things I was reading about him today was his big rule in writing is show it, don't say it. Okay, don't be, and so all of his stuff is really, really sparse on exposition, but very visual, and the action stuff is very kinetic, and so it's very cool. Anyways, like I said, super impressed with this guy, and I watched Tulsa King in 2 weeks, both seasons of it. So, and that's the other thing too. You could not have two things more opposite each other than Lioness and Tulsa King.
Linus seems much more polished than.
Oh yeah, no, but I'm saying, but in terms of thematically, okay, one is tongue in cheek, and the other is tongue in cheek and violent, and the other is like brutal, all out, crazy stuff.
Cool.
And my last thing, quick, is today it is 99 days till Daredevil, so we made it past the 100-day mark. So, yeah.
I thought you were gonna. So you like this guy?
I do. I liked him as an actor before, and like I said, I've started watching the shows, and like I said, I like the shows, and like I said, honestly, I was thinking it was two different people, and no, it is the same dude. So
You know who I like? Fanboy Collectibles. I was waiting for you. You said impressive.
Totally saw that coming.
But it's the holiday season, and believe me, this is what's crazy. It's a month until Christmas. I don't know where the time's going. It's ridiculous. So check those guys out. They got everything you need. Skeleton Crew Pops. No spoilers with them except the fern pop. The legs come off. I don't know why. I made that up. That's not
spoiler.
Sideshow Dr. Evesian. Who doesn't need that to go with your the guy with the little horse hooves? What's the guy's name?
Yeah. Ponda Baba?
Yeah. Hot Toys X23
like
Deadpool, Todd.
Yep.
That's all you got.
Someone
your name
may have
all over
ordered
it.
that.
Yeah. So they got plenty of stuff. Anything you want. You make your Christmas list, your Hanukkah list, your Kwanzaa list, your Festivus list right off the website. Just give it to your loved ones. Tell them this is the stuff I want. And they got everything.
Dave, were you referring to Dr. Evazan?
That's what I was. I wrote it the right way, and I'm like, oh, I got to say it that way. I always used to think it was Evesian. Whatever. Just because the people from Hasbro named these characters. None of these characters had names before.
As a matter of fact, Dr. Evesian was Derryl's dentist. So
yeah, there you go.
As soon as you're out of the commercial, I'll tell you how those things came about.
There you go. Let's do that. But check those guys out. They got everything you need. Fanboycollectibles.com. Check them out at their store in Newtown, Connecticut. Tell them the Regular Joe sent you. Darryl?
So you may think that Lucasfilm just knows everything, every character, everything has its name. No, that's not the case. So we found this out when we were doing a lot of Return of the Jedi figures, and especially the Ewoks. We found out, we said, we want to do this Ewok here in this scene. And Lucasfilm was like, we'll get right back to you. And then they kind of made up the name and said, okay.
The third brown one from the left.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and then they came back with names, and it wasn't always the case that they knew exactly what the names of, all of the characters
I would
on
imagine,
screen
right?
were. You had to come back. Obviously, they knew the main ones, but if it's a character that no one's ever asked about before or, really, expressed any interest in.
Like the Cantina, did any one of those people or creatures have names? Probably not.
Well, but back in the
Cantina,
70s, Kenner would go,
Yeah.
he looks like a squid. Call him Squidhead. They wouldn't have called him Dr. Evesian. They would have just called him Squidhead or Hammerhead.
Yeah, that's funny. But there you go.
But more modern take on you had to give the characters like actual names.
True.
Now,
all right.
Yeah. But
out of the
but
ad.
you realize what what Lucasfilm was up against, which is an unprecedented demand and interest in Star Wars, tons of licensing interests. So every single character, they had to come up with something. And sometimes it like took a brief pause, and then they'd come back and say, well, this is this character, because they were putting the backstory, to it, or the name in the backstory. And so basically it's their job to come up with everything. But, it's kind of, sometimes we put them against the wall there a little bit to, they had to go back and do their job.
Side note on that topic, the tram in the San Diego Wild Animal Park is called the Wagasa Bushline Tram. Wagasa stands for Who Gives a Shit Anyway.
That's not true.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
All right, there's two former San Diego.
Are you saying that's true, Brian?
Yes, I've heard it from park people at the San Diego Wild Animal Park. That's
the Wagasa Bushline.
That's how they come up with Wagasa.
Well, San Diego, you know what San Diego stands for? A whale's vagina.
Yeah. Okay. Do you know the Twain
classy San Diego
scanning protocol? What the name for that comes from? Twain in like been around forever. It's
like a choo-choo Twain. What are you talking about?
Twain, like Mark Twain. Anyways, that is a scanning protocol used forever. It's in Photoshop and whatever. They could not come up with a name for it. Twain stands for technology without an interesting name.
Twain,
and that was a committee thing. That was
well, the vintage Star Wars figure Forlom. That stood for the love of money, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, okay.
So, before we get completely away from the ad, Derryl, did you look at the Hot Toys Dark Knight Returns Batman?
I did not.
Check this thing out. I'm telling you, it's calling me. Well, it's more than called me. It's on my pre-orders already. But as I'm looking at this thing, I'm thinking like the years when I could credibly dress up in a Batman costume are behind me, except I'm looking at the proportions of this guy. And I'm thinking, with some padding, I could probably pull off Dark Knight Returns Batman. I'm just saying. and still put on 15 pounds. So it's like Batman for the rest of us.
He's the new Boba Fett.
He's
the
not
Boba Fett
Batman.
Batman.
He's just
the Boba Fett Batman.
Yeah. I wouldn't go that far. But anyway.
Maybe Boba Fett Batman.
That's what I meant.
Not fat. He's just stocky, or he's husky. He's husky. That's what it is.
So recently, I was in Ticonderoga. I know, unusual.
Again.
So, wait. So don't you have your mail delivered there, Brian?
It was another William Shatner weekend, which was amazing as usual. It was kicked off with a dinner. With 50 of your best friends and William Shatner, and he was auctioning off Next Generation scripts that I guess James had signed by everyone.
Really?
Everyone, and they raised $10,000 for his charity out of that group.
Oh, nice!
Wow,
that's nice.
Yeah, and David Gerald was there, and Robin Curtis was there, and Sandy Gimple was there. It was a fun time, but the peak of the weekend, or the best part was the last Shatner talk. There's a chat on the bridge where Shatner sits in the captain's seat, and you sit around him in chairs, and you spend an hour talking to him about any subject and any subject, because he goes all over the map, pretty much any subject but Star Trek. But at the end of it, they showed the OTOY boys came in and showed the premiere of Unification. There's a bunch of numbers at the front of it, which turns out is Yeoman Colt's ID number.
765874. So that just came this week. It's on YouTube and stuff. But since you were there with the man,
please tell me it was played on the view screen.
It did, yeah. It played on the main view screen. He was the captain's chair.
That is awesome.
And I sat on the steps on the side so I could look at the screen and look at him, and look at the screen and look at him, when there weren't tears rolling down my face and I could actually see what was going
Now,
on.
had Shatner seen it before, or was this the first time he was
this
seeing it?
This was the premiere. No one had seen it before.
He hadn't seen it because he's sort of involved in this thing.
They finished it the night before in the hotel.
Wow.
And he's involved. So let me back up. This comes out of the Roddenberry group.
Archive.
The archive, Roddenberry Archive. They're building all the starships, full interiors, 3D rendered. So you can
for like that Apple Vision.
You put on Apple Vision goggles and you can go anywhere on any of the ships. And they started thinking about, well, we should put people on the ships too, right? So they started working on that. And the person they did was Yeoman Colt, which was an amazing, job. And everyone thought she was computer generated, but no, just an actress who happens to look just like her.
Looks a lot like her, yeah.
and she actually she was at the event. I missed her completely.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, she was there with her new baby. So I was,
So Yeoman Colt was in what?
She was
Cage?
in the Cage only.
Yep.
The Menagerie, if you count the Menagerie. She's the redhead at the end who says, "Who would have been Eve?" The other girl that was with number one in the cell.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's Yeoman Colt. And then they've been expanding, and they did an interview with William Shatner on a volume, and he was really taken by the volume because they did the Star Trek bridge from TOS, and he was so amazed he thought he could reach out and touch the railing, and it was a flat surface. That's how good the volume was. And they did an interview with him, and he talked a lot about the death of Leonard Nimoy and how he never got to say goodbye to Leonard. That their relationship split, and he doesn't understand why, and he still doesn't understand why, and it's bothered him and still bothers him. He talked about it quite a bit on the bridge that day too. And these guys were so touched by that they decided to make a short film of Jim Kirk saying goodbye to Spock, which again they never got to do.
Because that also ties in. So when Kirk died, I guess most of us felt it was sort of there was not enough to it, and he died on that planet in a at best mediocre movie with although Barry has a poster on his wall of that.
People say Kirk should have died on the bridge, not under a bridge.
Yeah, exactly. So
one of the previous things that this company had done, this OTOY had done, was they made three little short,
some very short, like
very, very short,
a minute.
One of them was Spock going to that mountaintop where Kirk died and picking up his emblem from the
badge,
where Picard had left it, his insignia from where Picard had left it. And
that was pretty cool. So they were doing these
quite a while ago, and that looked really good.
That was a teaser for this film.
Well, what I'm saying, but each of the three things, there's elements of each of those three previous things in there, but that kind of set the stage for this, and they actually have a callback to that in this.
These guys are so clever. That Spock that flips the hood back and picks up the shield, makeup. Yeah. No CG at all on that one.
Really?
That's makeup on an actor who looks just like him.
I thought that was totally.
He was also at the set, and you look at him like, whoa, that guy looks like Leonard Nimoy's cousin or son.
Now, was he the Spock, the actor?
He's the Spock. Yeah, he's the Spock.
Wow, that was amazing.
And so they decided to make. They talked to William Shatner about it. And they told him what they were going to do, and he signed off on it. And they paid William Shatner, and they paid the actor in it. Everything you see in this in the Unification is actors. There's no.
It's Sam Witwer, by the way, playing Kirk.
There's
friend
no
of the
AI.
show, Sam Witwer. So which is interesting. I mean, he doesn't look anything like Kirk, but he's a huge Star Trek fan, and he had to get all his mannerisms, because as much as it's however they did it, digital face replacement, an actor needs to act out the eyebrows and the mouth and all that stuff. And he really, I mean, there's a couple things I have a little bit of an issue with, but for the most part, and William Shatner's very expressive. He tends to overact a little bit. So when he does things, you see it looks like him. I mean, they did a really, really amazing job.
It's the best face replacement I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's not just de-aging; it's true face replacement on an actor.
And it is,
and
they did it in bright sunlight too. and that's one of
the acting. It took a lot for him to.
But with
get
a
all the
handful of
mannerisms
exceptions in an 8-minute piece, it's almost seamless and flawless. There's a handful of little things.
You know,
that don't
the
look
thing
quite right,
I had the biggest issue with was it's not a wide shot. It's a wide shot of him, full body shot of him walking. Looks very weird. There were 2 shots like that.
Because the other thing is the thickness of his body changes a couple times.
Because Sam is not. That looks like a dude in a fat suit. I mean,
I would love to see a making of this thing because the pictures I've seen running around, sometimes they're in a real park, sometimes they're on a volume, sometimes they're on a green screen, and it's all over the map as to how they're doing this.
Yep.
And
so our friend Gordon Tarpley is also in it. He plays the alien that hands Kirk the badge.
This guy named Yor.
Oh, wow.
From Discovery.
Yeah.
Right.
And
again,
he put up a video the other day talking about his role in it and just the making of it from his point of view. And he even says some of what you see of him, he thinks is him in on set, and some of it he thinks might be digital replacement. But it's so good he can't even tell himself.
And this he said this was a big budget thing. This wasn't some $80,000 people. This probably they spent millions on this.
They spent days in that park. Days.
Yeah.
To shoot
well,
that.
who is the who? Who spent that
It's
much
OTOY.
OTOY. The guys
which
from
is a
OTOY.
company that does all this digital technology, but they're also connected with Roddenberry, is OTOY building the ships, Brian?
Yes.
So if you go to Roddenberry.com or the archive, it's where they're literally putting these 3D renderings of ships, plus they have these little movies. But, I mean, the whole idea of Kirk never got a great death. Kirk and Spock never really had a last great moment together, and they've sort of built this. So I guess with the idea that at Kirk's death, he was able to see Spock at his death, right? I mean, is that what we're getting out of this?
Well, that's the funny thing about it. Okay. You see all these things online of people telling you what the plot was and what all these things meant and how it all fits together with the split of the universe, and none of that is true. They had no agenda. They had no storyline. This is a demonstration of technology. And that's all.
Well, that's the storyline we're putting to it.
Brian, but they took all these different elements. They took all these open out, like Gary Mitchell, that alien who we knew in Discovery had transitioned between the universes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, had somehow transitioned between the universes, and they took the time frame was contemporary with Spock's death in the Kelvin universe. I mean, they took all these pieces that they had and they just kind of arranged them in order. So, it's
hard to say they had no plan.
That's
they
what I'm saying.
Do tell a story.
Because they did.
Somebody
use that bridge alien, and but like I said, I'm still not quite sure what Gary Mitchell's doing there.
Yeah.
But it might have something to do with 2001. It might not. Okay, it's yeah.
But someone was saying, I read a couple different, or watched a couple different reviews. Someone's like, well, how could Spock and Kirk meet up when Spock died in the Kelvin universe? But that is the Spock. If you believe in this higher power afterlife, why wouldn't that Spock who is Kirk's Spock? Why wouldn't they meet up at their time of their death?
Well, and that character of Yor was a interdimensional being. So.
Exactly.
Yeah,
from the next generation era of the Kelvin universe. So
right, and Gary Mitchell was too. Good point. So clearly, this is they're taking the idea of interdimensional convergence or whatever. But
this could have been a last gift from Gary Mitchell in a moment of revelation. Give Kirk his fondest wish at the moment of his death.
It's a Rorschach test, guys.
Yeah,
it
really is.
But that's what Star Trek is. Everyone interprets it.
But that's the beautiful thing about it. I mean, this is in some ways it's like the most 2001 Star Trek thing ever, because you can look at this and say, oh, it means this, or no, it really means this.
Yeah,
it was just very cool, and it did give a moment that we never really got.
Would not have had otherwise, and there's certain things in there that they didn't have to do, but made it so, when Kirk comes into, basically encounters different incarnations of himself. Okay. I mean, that is just like because the 60s Kirk, I'm watching 60s Kirk and I'm thinking, we are so close to having new TOS episodes.
Yeah, that's exactly what James.
But Brian,
James
you all,
said.
you mentioned that it's really a proof of concept for the technology. But in my line of work, I've seen dozens, if not 30 or 40 proofs of concepts of technology over the years. Nothing was this well thought out.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
they were proving technology, but they were also trying to tell a story and fill in a gap.
So they're all Star Trek fans.
But also, you guys, this is from Roddenberry. Is this canonical Star Trek, or it's not Paramount? It's Roddenberry.
Question.
We knew of Spock's death, okay, but we didn't see Spock's death. Okay, and the thing is, we also don't know that this is what's happening in the physical world. This could be the moment that Spock transitions. Okay,
I think that's what it is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like he wasn't there physically when he died, but at the moment that he died, they were together. They were together, and
kind of the world between worlds in Star Trek.
And again, then you also get the Nexus involved. Okay, which has this weird properties and stuff like that. It's like it's just this kind of it's. I don't think it really does it any benefit to overthink it. You pick the storyline that works best in your head, and we got this moment we should have had.
And
the bottom line is how visually convincing it is. It's so good.
It is really good. No one spoke, and I'm wondering if there's a problem when people talk in this technology.
Well, that's what I think sometimes could ruin it. Yeah,
it could, but I think it would take you. I would think it would take you out of it. But I also think. I think they did a really good job of not doing that.
So Brian, what was Shatner's involvement?
Shatner's involvement was simply approving it and doing the interview before it, which I guess they're putting together as a documentary.
So he didn't speak. I mean, obviously there's no voice in this, but
no.
There's a voice over, and I think it's him, but it's a voice over from the movie.
It's from the
AI technology. I mean, look what they do with James Earl Jones's voice. Like, they could have fed all of Shatner's previous dialogue into an AI and generated his voice. This didn't need.
It didn't need.
I think it was one of the beauties.
When they write him a big enough check.
So the thing shows on the bridge, and it ends, and everyone turns to look at Shatner, and he was clearly moved. He had to clear his throat to speak. So he was very moved by it, but he was also very concerned about another actor wearing his face. I think he was
like Shatner.
taken aback by how much it looked like
good
him,
it was,
how the eye movements were his eye movements, and how the actor looked like him, and he didn't do it. And he liked it, but you could tell he was really concerned about
it's
the
kind of disturbing that
part of it.
But honestly, he might have the same reaction to watching the original series at this point
because he'd never seen it. Yeah,
I've had the same reaction watching Chris Pine.
But I'm saying seeing the original series, it's like he doesn't really, he hasn't paid that much attention to it.
I really would love to see some behind the scenes. It'd be amazing to see Sam Witwer doing it without the face replacement. I would love to see some of that stuff.
So when I texted Gordon yesterday after I watched it a second time, we were texting a little bit, and he even said, like, you do these things and you hope they're going to be good, but because he never saw the finished product until it aired either. And he said that he was so happy with the way it came out that, like, it's nice to be involved, but it's even better when it's as good as this thing turned out to be.
It's getting a ton of great fan reaction.
This technology is it's next level. There's no dots on the faces. It's shot plain on face, and it's live. So the Video Village sees Captain Kirk doing the acting.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, the guy who plays Spock says he walked down the set, and he's working out with the director. And he looks over at the monitor, and it's Leonard Nimoy talking to the actor, to the director, not him.
That's
Well,
wild.
in Gordon's video
wild.
on YouTube, he was saying that Sam Witwer was checking after every take. He was checking to see if he got it right, and he was able to adjust in real time by watching
There's
the
a
playback.
lot of the mannerisms that you know. What's interesting with this, everyone's like, it's all about the technology. They're testing the technology, but what's great is it's transcending that. Again, it's meaningful as a scene from the Star Trek universe that means something to the fans, which is that's what the you don't just put Humphrey Bogart in the next Will Smith movie to do it. If you could do something and it has some meaning, that's what's awesome about it.
What fans don't realize is that this entire episode, Barry Kay, has been AI generated.
Digitally rendered.
That's right. I'm not really here.
And
I would actually, and I'm not a huge fan of going back and tinkering with things after they're done, but I would almost love to see them just redo the Tarkin and the Leia stuff in Rogue One with modern technology, and I think it would be an even better movie if they could make those things look a little more seamless.
And George would totally do that.
He would do that.
He would
if
he was
in
charge of any of it.
Yeah.
If he could re-release those, he would do that.
The Tarkin in Rogue One is very good. The Leia was not. Again, bright light.
And that's what I'm saying. Like
very video gamey. And
but if
it
they
served its purpose, though.
They could probably fix that, make it look 100 times better.
Oh, I agree. They absolutely could. And just the difference between Luke Skywalker in the last episode of Mandalorian season 2, and then Luke Skywalker in Mandalorian season 2.5. Wait a minute, that wasn't a thing. Yes, in Boba Fett. Okay, it's like he advanced a long way. So I mean that technology advanced a lot. So and it's just going to keep getting better. So
Barry, you made me think. Wouldn't it be fun if they took the JJ movies and put all the old actors in there instead? And the old sets.
We don't need that.
No, we don't.
I like them the way
it's
they
a
are.
different thing because it needs to be a different thing, and it's its own universe where it's sealed off and will probably now just die.
And I don't think who knows, in our lifetime maybe. I don't need full episodes. I don't need full movies, but it would be cool to see shorts,
little cool snippets of this moment. I'm sure there's like a dozen moments. Anyone
I
can
think
that.
they're going to do something like that on board the ships. That's where they're headed. I think
that's cool.
Interactive part of the archive. Yeah,
and it would be cool doing things that were recorded. Like you could have log entries and stuff like that.
That's a good.
Like Lieutenant Kirk's first day in the job, recording his log. Like a series of log entries from Kirk throughout. The early stages of his career through that would be really, really neat to see something like that.
That would be cool.
He's sitting in different chairs as he works his way through the ranks, and that sort of thing. So there's a lot of potential to do stuff that's, that ties into it but doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
And that's the nice thing with this is, this has hooks in a whole bunch of different incarnations of Star Trek, the Kelvin Universe, Discovery, the movies, all these things, Next Generation. But even Picard, the ship, the Kirk's body preserved on that.
Right. I think that's some of these people are planting seeds, like the end of Picard, and these people too.
Yep.
Are all planting seeds.
So that was referenced in there. So it's
this.
But the cool thing is it doesn't change any of those things. So you can tie into all those things. You can have, you can have those little seeds that go back to that, but it doesn't invalidate any of those things that happened at any of those other times. It doesn't change the meaning of those things.
Yeah.
So that's when you do something well, when you actually add to the substance of it in a meaningful way, without taking away anything. And that's not something that's done well enough. So.
And so check it out. It's on YouTube. I didn't realize it was on YouTube, but it's on there. So just put in 765874 Unification, and you'll find it. And again, I think Todd mentioned those numbers are this yeoman cult's serial number, because the couple I watched all the things. Those are just sort of real snippets of a bunch of different stuff. There's no real. except for maybe the last one where Spock is at the badge.
Yeah, I mean those again, but they're incremental proofs of concept, and that's what they were designed for. And you know, it's like I said, it's interesting to see how it develops. The one with Spock though is definitely
that is
watching.
Cool. Yeah, that almost
should almost be at the beginning. You know what I'm saying? It kind of goes with this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's cool.
So Dave, did you give the full name? It's 765874 Unification.
Yes. And if you just Google Unification and Star Trek, it's the second.
It's definitely on YouTube.
I had a hard time actually getting to it. I had to put in very specific things on YouTube. If you
do Star Trek and Unification, it'll be the second.
Well, the first time I did that, the next gen episodes.
I'm saying it's the second thing you'll find. Right. The first thing is the next gen.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that is. I hope they do more.
So I have one last question.
Yes.
What was your personal reaction the first time you saw it? I teared up. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was...
Totally. Like, I did not expect it to be. You know, I kind of knew what it was because I read a little thing about before. I did not expect to be as emotional as it was for me. And it really
I was confused. Which I did not read anything prior, and I didn't know what I was looking at, and that's why I went back and watched it a second time. Yeah. And my second time, I got a little bit more emotional.
I saw things saying Kirk and Spock are united, you know, at the end of Spock's life, and that's what I knew that going in. But
I didn't even have that.
I got really, like I said, I was choked up watching it the first time, and I think I watched it 5 times.
Well, that was why I sent it to you guys, because I'm like, what did I just watch here? Like, you need to send this to Dave and Todd.
I was more wrapped up in the technology because the only thing I knew about it was Brian when we had lunch was like, they did this cool thing with all this face thing. So watching it was like, oh, the technology, and you know, so Brian ruined it for me.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
So, but I think I would have been a little, but it, you know, when you really start thinking about it, it's more about whatever story you're making out of it, which is more important than the technology, because I don't care about the technology. This is, you know.
Brian, where were you?
Oh, it was blubbering on the bridge. There was not a dry eye in the house. Everyone was just, Derryl everybody was just absolutely stunned.
Did they give it any kind of setup, or did they just play it?
No, they just played it.
Did they hand out tissues?
No, they didn't hand out tissues. They should have handed out tissues. No, they just played it.
That's cool.
They even told Shatner what it was. They just played it.
Wow.
Seeing it with Shatner must have been amazing.
Yeah.
It was moving.
Yeah,
sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What a nice experience.
Derryl, what was your impression?
So at first I thought, well, I looked at the name, Unification, right? And I thought, this is the fan's dream of what we never saw on screen. You know, all of these like storylines maybe coming together, because I'm not as intimate with the details of Star Trek as you guys. So I have a kind of more of an outsider perspective. Although I do love Star Trek. I've seen all the movies, you know, and a lot of the TV shows, if not. I haven't seen all the TV shows, but a lot of them. And so I was kind of like, is this the fan's dream, you know, coming to screen? And I thought it was a really nice tribute, but I didn't know all the details of everything. But I kind of looked through it and said, is this what kind of, you know, we would like to see? I really don't know. So I was kind of like along for the ride and thinking.
Yeah.
Derryl, I think you got closest of anyone because the guy said this was their gift to William Shatner to say goodbye to Leonard.
Yeah.
That's why they made this.
Wow.
And you just pretty much nailed it. Yep.
That's cool. Yeah. You should check it out. I got to watch it again. It's really good.
And if you want an equal experience, well, William Shatner's coming back to Ticonderoga June 27th through 29th, 2025.
Nice.
I can't believe that.
Coming up and toured the Enterprise with the captain.
I got to get there. It's just, well, I'm not going to say, but.
And he'll be 93?
He's 93 now.
Yeah.
He'll be 94.
I can't believe he's that age.
And he and Leonard Nimoy had the same birthday
and
right. Date, year too. Yeah.
Yeah. That's something else. Yeah, we got to go. Yeah, if they need some carpentry help, I'll go up. I don't want to pay $1,500.
Worth it. Worth it.
Yeah. Cool. We're going to do some what's in the box. Brian, what's in the box?
I have a tool.
Nice.
It's it looks like a soldering iron.
It does look like a soldering iron.
But it's a soldering iron solder sucker.
Oh.
Have you ever tried to remove electric components from the board? You used to have a soldering iron and then another vacuum thing or a flux. This is both. So it's got a hole down the middle of it. You put it over the pin, heat it up, hit the button. I pulled a 25-pin header out in 2 minutes with this.
That's
it's
brilliant.
An amazing tool. And they're cheap. My friend got a 3-pack and gave me one.
So is it actually called a solder sucker?
Well, that's what I call it. That's what I always called it.
Well, what's
solder
it actually called? Because I do need one.
I don't. It doesn't have an. Here's the label.
It's just got a little bulb to it, Brian. They use.
It's upside down.
No.
Okay. I'll look for solder. I'll look for solder remover and see what I can find.
Solder remover. Yeah, no, it's a solder tip, but it's hollow in the middle.
Yep.
And there's a little lever you push down. When you push the button, it does the vacuum thing.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other tools for doing that.
Oh, that's
none of them are that clever.
Yeah, they have those solder.
They're not integrated like that.
They don't work like that.
It's a fantastic tool.
Cool. That's cool.
That's awesome.
So Barry, what's in the box?
Couple weeks ago, when we had our friend Tom Spina on, we were talking about Alex Van Halen's book Brothers, and my copy finally arrived. So I've already listened to the audiobook, but I got my copy in the mail, signed by Mr. Alex Van Halen.
Nice.
So, I recommend it if you're into Van Halen or if you're into rock biographies. It's a good book. So, but now I have my signed copy, so happy about that. Todd, what's in the box?
I have a representation of every Batman vehicle ever, except for one.
Ooh.
And now I have it. So this is the Whirly Bat.
Yes, you got it.
This is the Superpowers Whirly Bat. Now,
McFarlane.
Yes, for some bizarre reason. Okay,
nice.
This vehicle, which has been around since 1958 in some form or another, they've never made one of these before. There's a Lego one because it was in a Lego Batman movie, and there was a very limited run model kit in the 90s. But there's never actually been, even during the Kenner days when they made every Batman variation you could possibly imagine, they never actually made a Whirly Bat. And so despite the fact that the Whirly Bat was really prominent in the 70s comics when Bruce Wayne moved to the tower, left Wayne Manor and moved into Wayne Tower, and apparently no one noticed that this was landing at Bruce Wayne's penthouse a couple times a day. But it's just it was also in the Super Friends cartoons, and it was kind of how they kept a Batman and Robin would keep up with everybody else who could fly or had invisible planes. And so anyways, it was big in the 70s comics, and I always loved it. I always thought it was cool, in part because it's the most Adventure Team like thing that Batman had. I mean, you could totally paint this thing yellow and make this an Adventure Team thing.
What scale figure would go in there?
He's about the Superpowers figures are about
5 inches,
4.5 inches tall, and around that range.
Yeah.
So
that's new or from the old
just came out.
Superpowers line?
No, they're doing some really cool things.
Brand
They
new.
make a lot of vehicles. They also make this in black, which is wrong, but it matches the other, the Batman 89 vehicles that way. But just really, really cool, and it's accurate to the what was in several of the comics, but also what was in the in Super Friends. So, anyways, really excited.
I don't remember that from Super Friends. That's
I
cool,
think
though.
Todd, the story behind the story is that McFarlane put this up for a crowdfund, and it failed. Like, it didn't even get close to what they needed to crowdfund the existence of this, but they decided to go ahead with it anyway. And this was only like 4 months ago, so it's proof that they had already commissioned.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The tooling.
It's $15 on Amazon or $11 right now on sale on Amazon, but like I said, just really cool. I mean, Eagle Moss made every Batman vehicle ever, okay, except this, okay. And some people say it's the most absurd Batman vehicle ever. It is not. The Flying Batcave was the most absurd Batman vehicle. The Flying Batcave, yes. But like I said, it's a hole in my collection that's now filled. I'm really glad I have this, and I have a Superpowers Batman figure coming to sit in it. And like I said, I think I'm going to hang it above my Batmobiles.
I got it too, and I was so thrilled. That
what costume is the figure that goes in there wearing?
It would be the blue and gray with the oval. Okay.
Yeah.
And
like the Super Friends, right?
The Superpowers.
Okay.
The problem, that figure, the reissue that McFarlane did of that figure, they came out a year ago. They sold out. Those now sell for more than the original figures do from the 80s. If you buy the reissue on the card. So I actually bought an original figure from the 80s that I have coming to get to sit in this. So which I like I said was a few dollars less than buying the repro.
That's even better.
That's awesome.
So it'd be very cool. So anyways, that's that is my thing. So who's next?
Dave, what's in the box?
Sure. So this is just a small item that I got to go with a bigger item. I bought this off of a Facebook group. This is from Edge of Tomorrow. This is from the United Defense Force. So these were passes that everyone needed to have to be able to travel on and off the base. So they made a bunch of these, but this is original from the movie.
To go with your shotgun.
Oh, that's not shotgun. A replica? That's the real prop?
That's the real deal. Yeah, that's I bought it from a guy.
Wow.
I don't know if Tom Cruise touched this, but so I have a magnet on the back. So I have finished the display for the shotgun, and I'll show that to you.
Oh, that looks great.
So I put this on it just
nice.
magnetizes right there. So that's the shotgun.
That's incredible. Where are you going to put that in your?
That is going right there on the top of this doorway.
Above the door. Yep.
I can't.
Next to the Tom Cruise adjacent sword.
Above the bat shield?
Above the bat shield. Yeah, that's the door to the room. And that's really one of the only spaces I have. I can't even point to it right there.
Very nice, Dave.
Yeah, there you go. So that's where that's going.
Very nice.
Yeah, that was cool. A cool find, which was not too expensive. And I've seen those on different prop store had a couple too at one point. But yeah, I thought they had a good, nice little add-on for that.
Nice.
Derryl.
So shifting gears from genre a minute, but tied to original art. One thing we didn't discuss, I think, this episode was the original Adventure Team art that came up, which was amazing. But what kind of my consolation prize, actually, before the Adventure Team art auction, was some Wacky Packages original art that came up in a heritage auction. And I love Wacky Packages. So I didn't have any original Wacky Packages art, but I went in on this art and it was surprisingly inexpensive. And so I ended up with 4 pieces. And, they include like things like, I don't know if you can see this, guys, but
yep.
Pest dispenser and Van Camp's baked bats. So very
so they're all different sizes. That's cool.
It's a good size. I'm going to frame some of these afterwards. Here's an old school Witchbones.
Oh boy, I remember that.
These were stickers then, right?
Witchbones winch.
They're all stickers,
but they're not original. These aren't Norm Saunders stickers. They're all like more contemporary. Yep. But my favorite is this old school one. Selson Boo.
Oh, God.
You see that? It's,
yeah.
So
those are that's original art, like on artboard or
it's
whatever?
original art that was used in wacky packages, but it's the wacky packages that were in the 2000s, not
the reissues,
not the 1970s wacky packages.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
But they're pretty, wacky package art is pretty inexpensive. If it's not a Norm Saunders piece. And so those go for, $5,000 each, pretty much. These were $500 each, on average. So
yeah.
So I was pretty happy. But they're actual used ones that, Topps used for wacky packages. So
you collect those too, or no? The packages.
What's that?
You collect the wacky packs themselves?
That's one of my 12 things that I collect.
So you have those cards. You have
I have them all.
Do you have all the original 70s ones?
I do.
I
have the original 70s, and I have every wacky package. So I'm very happy to get original art.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I just have one wacky package card.
What is it?
Toe card.
G.I. Toe. G.I. Toe?
G.I. Toe.
G.I. Toe.
Yeah.
And it looks like a Land Adventure box art, but it's G.I. Toe.
Yep. G.I. Toe.
That's
classic.
That's funny.
So that's my what's in the box.
So that's what's in the box. Barry, I believe you have a last word, a last thought.
I do. I had a last thought. So there was a British guitar player. He played with the Beatles and Tom Jones and Jimmy Page and Eric Clapton throughout his career. He just passed away at age 87. His name was Vic Flick, and you may never have heard of him. But in 1962, he was brought into a recording session to punch up the theme to the yet-to-be-released James Bond movie.
Yeah.
And he is the guitar player in the James Bond theme.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Wow.
So, just passed away at 87, but he's the guy that does that iconic riff in the beginning of the James Bond theme.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Just
I know, now that you say that,
Good one.
The name sounds familiar. Todd's got
Todd
a
is
basket
showing
of
us his
animals.
cats.
Is there more than one
Yes.
animal there? Oh, jeez.
That's Vic Flick.
There we go.
It's just it's Vic Flick coming back as a cat. No, but so, hey, he had a very successful career as a musician in England, but probably best known for that iconic James Bond guitar riff. So,
wow, that's a good one. Good job, Vic.
Yeah,
good
good
job.
job.
And I'm sorry
Thank you for that.
Got your tongue stuck to that pole out in the Christmas story.
That's the other Flick.
That's the other Flick. That's the other two.
Thug.
Barry, 2 questions. How old was he?
87.
Oh, 1 year short of good run.
Is that 1 year short of a good run?
We decided 88 was a good run.
Oh.
In 5 years, we're going to say 98 is a good run.
Yeah, we'll revise that the closer we get to 88.
Exactly.
And the other question is, Barry, can you play that lick on the guitar? The James Bond?
I probably could. I just don't. I don't have. Well, I'd have to go across the room.
Well, you don't do it right now. I'm just curious. I saw.
You know what? We years and years and years ago, we did a James Bond show, and I recorded a new intro for that show.
Oh, really?
With the James Bond
I
guitar
will
part.
add that. We'll use that in the show.
Nice.
But you have to find it because I don't know if I know.
I
where
probably saved it because I re-recorded the entire thing with that. I'm sure I have.
Nice.
I want to hear that.
Nice tribute to Vic Flick.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Rest in peace, Vic Flick. Cool. So, 555. No, 550. 555 coming up later.
Yeah.
We will. This train is heading towards the end of the year very fast. I don't know if it feels that way for everybody, but it certainly does feel for me. I don't know why. It's just it was summer.
Very fast.
And it's also a late Thanksgiving. Late Thanksgiving always throws you for a loop.
And there's been a lot going on in our world. It's been a bit of a blur.
Yeah.
And I'm actually looking forward to 2025, just getting through the end of this year and moving on with a fresh start.
Yeah. But everyone have a great Thanksgiving. If you're listening to this, it's the day after Thanksgiving, but it's Thanksgiving weekend. don't go to Walmart. Do yourself a favor. Whatever you do.
And
It's
by
not
the
worth-
time we come back on the air next, Skeleton Crew will have been a thing that we have watched.
Woohoo!
Oh,
That's
boy.
right. We'll have to talk about that.
Yes.
Yeah. So remember, it's all about buying stuff for yourself and for others. That's what the holiday season's about. No.
Except we're all on lockdown right now, right?
We are
Because
on
we're
lockdown.
getting to that time of year where we have to buy
The
each other
guy
gifts.
who says we're on lockdown is the only one who's broken the rule.
Yes, I was going to say pre-orders do not count on lockdown, but yes, we're on lockdown for ourselves. Yeah.
I'm going to go on record and say I'm officially done shopping for you guys. So there.
You're out of your mind. I don't even know. I haven't done anything for anybody.
Well, you've had other stuff going on too. I'm just hoping that between now and the end of the year, nobody buys any of the things that I picked out for them. So
we're on lockdown, Barry.
All right. We'll see how that pans out.
That doesn't count. Skeleton Crew came out and I had to buy the Skeleton Crew whatever.
Right. Yep.
I'm not worried that either of you will buy me a Skeleton Crew item. Trust me.
I'm buying you a Skeleton Crew skeleton.
That's it.
Anyway,
That would
that's
be
enough
okay.
of us.
Oh, speaking
And-
of skeletons, so Brian, I have not yet built the skeleton model you picked up for me.
Oh,
but
yeah.
what I did do was buy the other version. So now I have the one you picked up for me and the other version. So I'm going to build them together. I want to have two of them marching.
You've got to come to Wonderfest because I think they're going to keep doing them until they do them all.
Yeah, well,
probably
I
probably
might
a
have
third
to
of them
do
coming
that
out at
too.
Wonderfest.
We got to go to
yeah.
Wonderfest. Yeah, we got to do that.
Yeah, next Wonderfest. Let's all go.
That's
be
easy
great.
for you to say. It's across the street from your house.
It's 4.25 hours away.
4 hours, Jesus! Isn't Kentucky and Tennessee all in the same place?
Surprisingly, it's due west of me. I was
They're
shocked.
almost contiguous.
It's due
4
west
hours is a
of me.
nothing
Yes.
drive for Derryl. Derryl does that in his sleep.
nothing.
It is nothing. I don't.
It's
Europe would drive 4 hours.
4
to get
podcasts.
Yeah.
2
But
regular Joe's podcasts.
The hotel, however, is literally across the street from the airport.
Yep.
Interesting.
And I'll have a car, and Daryl will have a car. We'll come pick you up.
We should book the hotel. Is it already up
Let's
for
do
booking?
it.
Someone
I don't
book the
know. I've
hotel. I take care of Rhode Island. Book us
Let's
some
do
rooms.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
We'll
I think we
deal with
should
this
do it.
after the show.
And
I thought
Thanks
we were
for
done.
listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Cue the James Bond.